Hey guys, Nick Ogilvie here with Luxe Blades Artificial Turf.
Woo!
Yeah. And I got Chase Dowling with us here in the studio with VibraShield.
That's right.
And yeah, this is exciting. So Chase, tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Chase Dowling, as Nick mentioned, I'm the CEO of VibraShield USA, and we're bringing to market a really exciting product for the turf industry, which is VibraShield Total Turf. And that product is going to revolutionize what we're doing in this space and really help out a lot of installers and manufacturers.
That's great. So what's cool is today you came all the way from Houston. I appreciate that.
Yep.
We had a manufacturer actually fly in from Georgia.
Correct.
To meet with us and possibly working in the near future. Really excited about it because your product, well, let me tell you first how I got with you guys.
Sure.
So first, y'all had a Facebook post going on, and it was
the power of social media marketing.
Exactly. And it was like how to get rid of odor out of your turf.
Right.
And me being an installer and being ethical, and you know, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, almost 2 decades. I've tried everything.
Yeah.
And this customer of mine, he had literally tried everything, more so than I have. He actually even tried baking soda on his turf. And so, yeah, it was bad. So he had some big dogs on a little bit of patch of turf. And so I wanted to help him out.
Sure.
So I got with you guys, purchased the kit.
Yep.
For the VibraShield.
Yep.
And sprayed it, and I sprayed it on a Friday, and on a Monday, couldn't even smell it.
Right.
And so it just it's huge.
Yeah.
You know, so I've tried live enzymes, where live enzymes have to be live, shaken up, and stuff like that, and wet, and then that's okay for a time, and then it goes away.
Right.
And then OxyTurf, you know, which is a great product.
Yep.
Still could do it occasionally for to help out, but VibraShield's really your total care. And kind of explain a little bit about it, what it does.
Yeah, so I think the best way to explain it is to go back to the very beginning and how we kind of came across this. And so we started a company called City Pups back in 2020, which designed and built dog parks for multifamily housing. And so the vast majority of the parks that we constructed and worked with, both on a construction level and maintenance level, was artificial turf grass. And so the biggest concern when it comes to apartment complexes, multifamily housing, is obviously you have a lot of dogs on site, right? Most apartment complexes in major metropolitan cities like Houston are going to have 300 plus units. And we know through data that more than 50% of those people that live in apartments will own an animal at some point or time. And so you could have on any given day in a dog park, 60 dogs that urinate and stuff like that on the turf grass. And so there's a major concern with the smell and the bacteria that comes along with that. And so, for us as a company, we tried them all. We tried the enzymes, we tried the peroxides, and they were great for their initial purpose, which was to kill the bacteria and kill the odor instantly. But we would get a call a week later from the apartment complex and say, hey, we paid you guys to come out here and maintenance the dog park, but it smells again. And so then we were having to set them up on a maintenance program, or they would have to maintenance their own park on an ongoing basis. And it just really wasn't solving the underlying issue of why there was odors to begin with. And so we set out on a mission to find a solution for that. And we came across VibraShield. And this is really truthfully a long-term solution as it relates to the odor in the turf grass. And so with your peroxides and your enzyme-based products, they're going to go down on the turf grass, they're going to kill the bacteria, and the second that it rains, they're going to be gone. And so you have to reapply and reapply and reapply, and that's just not great in a commercial setting. It's really not great in somebody's backyard either, because no homeowner who just paid to have maintenance-free turf grass wants to continuously maintenance something that they were sold on being maintenance-free, right? And so our product will actually bond to the surface and become a part of the substrate. So we're not necessarily a coating. We call it a coating because that's the easiest way to explain it, but we truly become a part of the molecular structure of the substrate, which in this case is turf grass that we apply it to. Once our molecules are applied, they bond to the carbon, become a part of the surface, and they vibrate. that vibration is what kills the bacteria. It scrubs the bacteria, removes the oxygen molecules, starving that bacteria, removing it, killing it, and then ultimately killing the odor, which is just phenomenal. I think that's the biggest concern when it comes to turf grass. But we also do a lot of other things, right? So because we actually vibrate on the surface of the substrate, we can prevent adhesion. So here in South Texas, I know up in Dallas, there's a lot of problem with hard water. We don't have, natural streams flowing down here from the mountains, right? And so there's a lot of calcium buildup that comes along with having turf grass in your backyard if you have sprinkler systems. And so we can actually reduce or prevent that adhesion of the calcium. That makes it easier to clean the turf, keeps it nice and looking green, which is the whole purpose, right? You don't want white turf unless you're a football field. And we also can reduce the temperature in the turf grass. So because our molecules are vibrating, we're super UV reflectant. And so we actually reduce the absorption of UV light into the actual substrate, which will ultimately reduce temperature in temperatures above an ambient, degree of 90 degrees, which is every day in Houston, Texas during the summertime for 6 months straight. You're going to get, anything above 90, sometimes above 100 for 3 months sustained. And so, this product can really help a lot of people out, not only backyards with children and pets playing on it or dog parks, but in the sports industry. You've got kids that start practicing football, into July, early August. And so, this is going to help out a lot of people. And it's truly total. We call it total turf because it's truly total protection for the turf grass.
Yeah. So one thing that I like about it is the adhesion properties, because you get urine crystals.
Yep.
That's formed from the pets and stuff like that, and now they can't adhere to the turf because you've got the VibraShield going back and forth working, and I really like that aspect of it. Literally, you can spray this on the pads for the football, like you go with the dummies that you go get on and stuff like that. Gymnastics, stuff like that, right?
Absolutely.
Spray those pads, keeps them clean.
Yep.
There's just so many avenues that the VibraShield works in a turf area. Yeah. Another thing that I like about it is you can spray the playground equipment with it, so as we're taking care of their turf, we're taking care of their playground structure as well. Yeah. Yeah. And I really like that because it's not only keeping the pets at bay, right, helping them out, but it's also helping the kids out. Yeah. So not only total turf protection, but total home protection. Absolutely. Right? And businesses. Yeah. And so it's an added feature that you've added to the turf industry. Yeah. To help out. So
our major thing at VibraShield ultimately is to provide a safer environment, whether that's the environment as a total as it relates to the earth, or it's the environment that your kids play in, right? Or your dogs are playing in, or your athletes are playing in. Any surface that is intended to have people on it's going to have bacteria, right? So how do we protect it from collecting that bacteria and then that bacteria being able to fester? And so our product does that on a long-term scale. Like, we're not a set it and have to come back 2 days later and do it again. We're a set it and forget it program, or set it and forget it product. And I think that really resonates with a lot of people when it comes to investing in something like that, because they don't want to have the hassle of having to deal with it. And so we've got total turf, and then we've got total protection, right? Total turf is going to be for your backyard. It's going to be for your turf surfaces. And we have total protection, which is going to be for the playground equipment. It's going to be for your home carpeting. It's going to be for your commercial building, right? Anywhere that you should be concerned about that as an individual, that when you walk into a building, you walk into your home, you're on the playground with your children, that you're providing them with a safe environment at no cost, right? Because ultimately our health is something that we can't get back. And I think that we're really helping people, create an environment that's going to be, help them last a little bit longer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, so I'm not going to give away what we're testing right now. Yeah. But it is something else in the turf industry. Uh-huh. And, being, wanting to help the athletes. Yeah. And it's really huge what we're testing right now, and I can't wait for it, because then it will help the sports market. Right. And it's going to be huge. Yeah. So.
Well, there's a lot of concern right now, I love the artificial turf grass industry. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't be in it, right? And I think our ultimate goal at the company is just to provide safer options for the consumer, right? And there's a lot of negative things coming out about the turf grass industry right now as it relates to, we can get into the technical stuff of PFAS and things like that, and VOCs, and we're helping to protect ultimately the general public from some of these harmful chemicals that can be found, not always found, but can be found in some of these substances or some of these products that they're using on a daily basis.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things that recently is testing the different coated and uncoated infills.
Yeah.
And then having the VibraShield
Yep.
on different products. And, the VOCs was crazy high
Yeah.
in the coated and uncoated.
Yep.
And then with it treated with VibraShield, how it just came down instantly. Kind of talk about, because VOCs are so important. A lot of people, they've heard the term VOCs. So
Right.
Can you tell people what's a good VOC, what's not a good VOC?
Yeah.
And tell a little bit about that testing on the numbers and how quickly they came down.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to understand VOCs, let's just talk about what it is, right? So VOCs are volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds is what emitted from a bacteria, right? So VOCs are in the air that you breathe, right? In multiple different environments, whether it's an office building, it's a home, it's on the turf grass, it's wherever, right? Indoor sports complex. What we try to do is reduce the VOCs to a healthy standard, right? So anything between a 0, which would be no TVOC,
Right.
up to, a little bit less than a 1, maybe like a 0.6 to a 0.8 is going to be healthy. Anything from a 0.8 to, let's say, a 1.5 is going to be moderate. And then anything a 1.5 to maybe like a 2.5, a 3 is going to be unhealthy. Anything above a 3, you don't want to breathe it, right?
Yeah.
That is not healthy levels. And so we conducted testing as it related. Coated infills are something that's very prevalent in this marketplace, right? And they serve a very specific purpose. Infill serves a purpose for the turf grass, right? Yep. It's there to weigh it down. And stuff. And so anyway, coated infills are being marketed there as, antimicrobial and things like that, and odor reducing. But the infill, it's great for the infill because it's coated, it's going to protect itself. But what's protecting the actual turf grass, right? So when we talk about urine crystals, which is something that people don't really realize, you can't see it to the naked eye. When a dog urinates on any surface, whether it's carpet, concrete, whatever the case may be, turf grass, it's going to drain through, the actual liquid's going to drain through, but when it dries, it leaves behind urine crystals. Urine crystals are difficult to remove. They have to be scrubbed with cleaning materials, or they have to be broken down using a peroxide or an enzyme-based deal. What we do is we prevent the adhesion of that urine crystal onto the actual surface itself, so it makes it easier to clean. We talk about cleanability when we talk about VibraShield. We are making it easier to clean while also trying to scrub and destroy that bacteria at the same time. So you're getting odor reduction as it relates to just killing the bacteria, and then we're getting anti-adhesion as it relates to what is left over there. So when that homeowner or the dog park owner or whatever the case may be goes out there to clean their turf grass, whatever is left over that our VibraShield molecules haven't killed yet, it's going to come off very easily with the spray of a water hose, and it's going to drain down through the bottom of the turf and into the earth where it belongs, as opposed to on your synthetic surface, such as concrete or turf grass or tile or whatever the case may be.
So I like that because a lot of the pet boarding facilities and stuff that we do, I hate to say it, but they know the odor's a deal, but they want artificial turf because, not one, it is safer for the pets, but two, if they're taking pictures of pets on their new facility with the artificial turf, it just looks good for Facebook, for social media.
Right.
And so that's why they want to do it for the social media and for cleanliness.
Right.
But what they end up doing to clean their turf is not using a peroxide or live enzyme. They'll use all of that stuff. Sure. But they'll also take a pressure washer, and pressure wash that because they're like, that's got to be the cure. That's got to be the cure. Well, as they're doing it, it's taking out all the infill.
Right.
and so it's reducing a lot of the turf warranty, right? Loosening fibers and
Of
stuff
course.
like that. It's hurting the turf. So what I like about your product is you set it on there and it helps through the whole thing, right? When all they got to do is just hose it.
Right.
They can just hose it and that would be good enough.
Correct.
And that's what I really like about your product is because it's going to help out those boarding facilities on the fact that they're not going to have to, in vet clinics, right? In vet
Right.
clinics and stuff like that. So they're not going to have to pressure wash this or pressure wash that.
Right.
It's literally, it helps out the industry so much. So talk a little bit more about the pet industry on that aspect, on how it's healthier for the pets.
Yeah. Well, VOCs, just as they're unhealthy for humans, they're unhealthy for your pets as well. And if anything, they're a little bit unhealthier because VOCs are emitted from bacteria that may be on the surface, right, of the flooring. Well, dogs are closer to the flooring than humans are. And so, you know, when we talk about reducing VOCs and reducing bacteria, we're really creating a healthier environment for the pets and the babies too that are crawling around on the artificial turf
100%.
grass. You know, so what we try to show is rapid reduction in VOC. And so our product, if a dog goes out and it urinates on the turf grass or on the concrete or whatever the case may be, the VOCs are going to be immediately emitting off of the ammonia and things like that, the bacteria that's inside of the actual urine itself. And so we're going to immediately start breaking that down, and we're going to break it down a lot faster than if there was nothing there or maybe a coated infill was there, right? And so in our studies, what we show is that we have a 20% more faster reduction in that VOC as opposed to a coated infill. And so it really never gives that urine the chance to fester inside of the turf grass or on the surface to then become a strong odor. And so what we tell people is that, you know, if a dog goes out and it pees on the turf grass, you may smell it for the first 5 minutes, right? It's fresh, but our molecules are going to start working to break that urine down and that bacteria down. And so we're solving the long-term problem to where it doesn't become a major issue. For example, we did a dog park that was in a basement of a high-rise building in Houston, Texas. And, you know, unfortunately in these, you know, concrete jungles, there's not a lot of space for the dogs to go
Right.
to go use the restroom. And so they built a facility in the basement. The problem with that is one, the airflow down there. And two, you can really smell the urine that's emitting off of that turf grass down there. And and I'll be honest, I mean, they had air grates and the turf sat on top of the air grates, so it would drain. And they had a sprinkler system that would spray the grass every night, twice a day, whatever the case may be. And you would think that just the drainage alone and then going into the sewer would eliminate the odor smell, but that's not the case. It's the urine crystals that are adhering to the turf grass that causes the major odor that you're experiencing, and there's no better place to experience it than inside of a basement.
Better you than me.
Right? Yeah. When we walked in, I mean, it was eye burning, and we were a good, you know, you walk into the building, into the basement area, and it was, the dog park was probably 100 feet from the door around a corner, and you could smell that urine and that ammonia smell all the way down the hallway. It was eye burning. And so we went in there and we applied VibraShield, and went back 3 days later and couldn't smell a thing. And that eye burning sensation was completely gone. And that's because we're ripping the VOCs out of the air and killing the bacteria. But not only are we ripping VOCs out of the air, we're actually purifying the air around it. And so our molecules have they have a mouth and an exit point. I won't use the technical term. And so we're actually absorbing the oxygen, and then we're releasing the oxygen molecule back into the air. We don't take in the oxygen and keep it. We release it back. And so we're taking in the bacteria, we're stripping the oxygen molecule out, we're scrubbing the bacteria, killing it, sending it down into the drain or sending it down into the earth, and we're releasing that fresh oxygen molecule back into the air. And so that's where you get the TVOC reduction, is that we're purifying the air around it. It's absolutely remarkable.
That's awesome. So I'm excited what the future has to hold for us. In the turf industry.
Yeah.
Because it's literally changing the game.
Yeah.
And so very fortunate to meet you and your brother.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how things happen.
It's social media, man.
Social media.
Gotta have it.
Yeah. And I'm really excited that we actually have data to prove this.
Right.
And it's not just it happens. Like, I went and sprayed the guy's yard, and it worked, but that's
Yeah.
just me saying it.
Right.
Now we have data that's backing us up.
Yeah.
And in January, we'll have even more data, which
Right.
is going to be exciting. And so, Chase, thanks again for coming on the show today, being here in good old Dallas, Texas. And it's been great having you.
No, I really appreciate it, Nick. And I think we're going to do a lot of really great things for the turf grass industry and for a lot of industries for that matter. And, you know, we're going to provide a safer, healthier product, not only for the turf grass manufacturers and installers, but for the end client as well, which is really what matters at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, can't wait to get started and get this thing out there and get it in the hands of these people.
All right, guys. Well, this is it here at Luxe Blades. Hope everyone has a great day.